Anyways, that brings me to the age of 31, when I began my run for presidency, and when I lost everything. Firstly, there are a couple of key details to note. My father passed away when I was 28. He left all of our land to my mother and all of his money to me. So I became even richer than before. I donated a very generous sum to the various charities I supported. And of course, I had to make sure my mother was taken care of since she didn't work anymore. And then, after Liz took half my money in the divorce, I was left with a few million in my account. Although I didn't need it since I earned more than enough for my work. I took the advice of my accountant and invested the rest of my father's inheritance since I wasn't sure what else to do with it. That was my mistake. It was a quiet morning. I was eating the same breakfast I did every day when I received the call. My accountant, Barry, called with a sense of urgency I had never heard in a grown man's voice before. And then he said it. Those 3 words that rang in my ear like a gun had just gone off. You lost everything. In the night, the business that my accountant suggested I invest in had gone under due to a scandal, and all my money was gone. I still had my working wages, which were more than enough to keep me fed and living well, but my status and wealth were all gone. My name was in the paper that same day. Adrian Hunter invests in company under scandal. Had it turned out the company hadn't been paying their workers fair wages, they were barely paying them at all. Suddenly, my name, which had only ever been praised for being generous and kind, was being dragged for supporting a corrupt corporation. I was in shock, and appalled at how someone could do such a thing to so many people. But mostly, I was disgusted I supported it. The news of this spread to the rest of America pretty quickly. People were tweeting and spreading the word about how they no longer supported my campaign. That one misleading headline caused me everything. Liz called me just to rub it in my face, and my mom wouldn't even talk to me. I warned you about how you spend your money, Adrian. The next day, I was asked to make a public statement. My legal and PR team wanted me to apologize and make a speech about money management and the business side of it all. But as I sat there reading the spew of words they'd thrown together, I remembered my principles. Everything I stood for and believed in. It was worth the money. And everyone needed to know that. I wore my favorite suit that day. It was navy blue and had a metal tie clip whose design matched the embroidery on the jacket. Hannah bought it for me. As I stepped onto the podium, reporters glaring at me, cameras flashing and the lens of the filming camera staring me down, I took a deep breath and remembered what she said to me once. Good afternoon. My name is Adrian Hunter, as you all know. Recently, a company I blindly invested in went under due to a gross mistreatment of their employees. It is my duty now to assure you all that I had no knowledge of these unfortunate events whatsoever, and was just as surprised as you are. In my life, I have had the opportunity that many of you perhaps haven't, to be able to spend my money as I please. But I read the words that continued about how I've been reckless with my money, about how I should have saved it all, and I chose to speak the truth instead. But this is not my crime. I have always believed since I was a kid that those of us who have the money to help others should. And although in this case, it would have been better to leave it alone, it should not be the norm for someone with such great wealth to let it sit in a vault while they twiddle their thumbs together, even if that's what they'd have you believe. My PR team began to stare me down from the sides. I could feel their eyes piercing into me like daggers. Still, I continued. I won't try and steal your sympathy by telling you all the good things I've done in life, because I never did them for praise or fame. But because it should be the standard. My whole life, I watched the rich get richer, and the poor grow in numbers, and we were supposed to accept this. But not anymore. A strong person once told me that you can't change the world sat still. We've got 2 strong legs on us, so we must use them. Take that step and don't look back. So from now on, it's my promise, as it's always been. To do best by you with whatever I can. Not because I want popularity or money, but because we all deserve the chance to take that step. Thank you for listening. I left before anyone could ask questions. I knew there would be a lot of people who didn't believe my words or would try and twist them. Honestly, I wasn't expecting anything but a chance to speak the truth. I had accepted my loss already. I only hoped the message would stand. The next morning, I woke having been bombarded with phone calls and messages. My PR team banging on my front door like they were trying to break it down. I thought I was doomed. I had definitely been torn down in my sleep. But what I saw was far more than I expected. The first thing that caught my eye was an Instagram post from a famous street artist. They had painted a beautiful picture sometime in the night in support of me. The picture contained me sitting with a group of school students, giving them all lunch and telling them to eat what they need. Underneath the painting was the hashtag #AdrianGives. Milo? I quickly searched through the results of the hashtag and found that the next most viewed piece of media was a picture of myself and the twins from high school. They too shared their story about how I would buy them lunch and they insisted to help me in return. A fair exchange between friends. The next post I saw was by the first charity I ever donated to, the Green Society for Cleaning Up America. They posted a receipt of my donations, all of which I made privately so it wasn't seen as a political act. More and more people spoke out over the next few days, and my numbers began to increase with each story. But there was one that changed everything. That meant the world to me. Hannah. Even now, after so many years, she was still in my corner. Hannah posted a video on the official Twitter page for the law firm she worked for. She told our story. Hi, my name is Hannah Lee, and this is the story of how I met Adrian Hunter, and the truth about the man he is. Adrian and I met in a college and became fast friends. We were both part of a club dedicated to cleaning up the streets and making the world a safer and more beautiful place for all animals. He would donate money privately to a larger organization that was dedicated to doing the same thing, and he wouldn't ask for anything in return. He never did. In the 5 years that I knew and loved him, he would give everything to help someone in need. And when I asked for space, he gave that too. Adrian Hunter is what the world should be. Even now, I know that it's not the loss of his money that disturbs him, but the thought of those employees and how they were mistreated. So I urge you to vote for Adrian. Support Adrian. You won't regret it. I don't need to bore you with the rest of the campaign details. All you need to know is I won. After I did, I found Hannah and thanked her for her help. It was all you, she insisted. You were the one who did all those selfless things. I just helped people see. Would you like to get coffee with me? I asked, praying she would say yes. And she did. A few months later, I asked her to be my girlfriend again. She said yes then, too. And when I asked her to marry me 2 years later, she said yes again. We welcomed our daughter into the world last year. We named her after Hannah's mother, who sadly never got to meet her. As she grows up, I hope I can teach her the same kindness and generosity that I stand for, and I hope she meets someone just as good as her mother to keep her company in life. Nowadays, I still have the money to buy whatever I want, but it doesn't matter to me. They're all I need. You can't change the world sat still. You've got 2 strong legs on you, so use them. Take that step, and don't look back. It was my second year at Harvard. I was questioning everything about what I wanted to do. Suddenly, constitutional law didn't feel right. What if I couldn't make a difference? What if no one would listen? Then she said those words. Those words I would remember forever, along with a kiss on the forehead and the most beautiful smile you've ever seen. And with her by my side, I took a step forward. Now it was time to move again. Even if she wasn't there next to me, she was with me in those words. I began my speech with what they wrote for me.